Happy Saturday, everybody. How's it going? I'm your host, Ben Soto. Who do we have today?
I'm Justin.
He's Justin.
That's me.
I'm Cal.
Read it on the screen.
I wasn't sure who I brought on today, so
I never know where I'm pointing. There you go. Yeah, good to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Of course, you're part of the team now. So This is not. Let me just preface this. This is not a comic book stream. So if you follow this channel because of comic book stuff, I'm sorry. Today we're going to talk about portals.
Dabble a little bit into the paranormal, the things we make comic books about, but not strictly. This conversation will be about comic books. This will be
That's
about,
right. The stuff that inspires our creativity.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Yeah, no complaints.
What's the weather like over there, Cal?
Oh my gosh. It is. I'll just say I wish I had a portal to like I don't know, Alaska or something. It's awful.
Yes. Yeah.
It's it's funny, the temperature has been getting up to almost around 120 some days.
Oh man.
And I go out after lunch every day and shoot baskets at work. We have a basketball court at my church. And I do that for half an hour in this heat, and it's awful. But I went walking yesterday morning, and it was under 100. It was like 99, and I felt my skin catching on fire on the back of my leg. Like, why is it hotter now at 100 degrees than it is at 115 later in the day? I don't understand Phoenix at all, and I don't like it here. We have great sunsets though.
Yeah.
So you like it because the sun goes away.
Yeah, we just rejoice.
Part of the day.
Yep.
Part of the day is when the sun just sets; it just goes away.
Yeah, it's crazy. It could be the temperature could stay the same. It could still be 105 or whatever. But when that sun goes away, it's like, yeah, I can take this. I can handle this.
Yeah.
Awesome, Justin. How are you doing?
Oh, not terrible over here. It's like in the 90s over here, but humid. It's very humid where I live. So I live in a place that's very green. So it's pretty. It's beautiful, and it rains like every other week for an entire week almost. And
Nice.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, this is
Where
my
are
kind
you?
of place. So this is Bryan, Texas, College Station. So it's close to Austin, between close to Houston as well. So it's green, but it's humid. It's so humid. We went out today. We went to a rose garden kind of place. We got some plants for the house, me and my wife, and we were out there for maybe like 2 minutes. Like, we got from the car to like the garden area, and my wife was like, "We'll just get some plants and then go, because you're sweating a lot."
Yeah.
She's like concerned for me. She's known me for like 13 years, but like every time I start to break out into a sweat, she starts to get concerned. Like, I don't think it's normal for a person to sweat that much. Like, no, I promise this is just what my body does. I'll be okay. But it is humid. Like, I wouldn't mind if we just got the plant and left. That's fine. But
That's preferable.
I'll be okay. Yeah. But otherwise, I'm in the air conditioner right now. I'm making it. I'm all right. How about you, Ben? What's it like over there?
It is. It's miserable. I think God's trying to kill all the vegetation here.
Yeah.
Or somebody. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's miserable. I had to.
Where are you again?
I'm in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Okay, Oklahoma and Texas. Okay.
Tulsa, Oklahoma area.
Tulsa, nice.
Yeah.
I've seen Tulsa on the Tulsa King show. So that's all I know about Tulsa.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
No, that's fine. I think that's all Rambo knows about Tulsa too. So he was here for like a day to shoot that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't here very long. I think they only shot the first season here.
Oh, okay.
2 episodes, and then the rest of them are going to be shot like somewhere else because it was too hot for him here.
Probably Canada or something.
I think that's really the reason. I think he said in a interview somewhere that it was just too hot, too humid.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it gets that hot in Oklahoma.
Yeah, in the summertime. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
But anyways, let's talk about portals. What do you guys think about portals? What are your thoughts?
Neato.
I second
that. So what kind of portals are we talking about? We're talking about all kinds of portals, or are we talking about like fairy rings? Are we talking about portals that kind of maybe wormholes or something like that?
All kinds of portals.
Yeah. So they're really interesting, but I keep hearing that they're not possible in nature, right? Like the idea of wormholes, which is probably the closest thing we'll ever get in like the scientific community to admit like portals are possible. It's a black hole that you go into and you maybe shoot out somewhere else. Maybe, I don't know, like Interstellar, like. But I think that stuff's really interesting. Singularities and stuff like that, but I want to see like more closer to home portals, like fairy ring portals, like that kind of stuff. I think it's possible, right? I think that kind of stuff it could definitely happen. You look at it through like a more hopeful lens, I guess. But I don't know. I think it is possible to have, these fairy ring portal stuff happen more often. What do you guys think? I don't know. I'm just talking.
I've never heard of fairy rings. That's interesting.
Fairy rings, yeah.
Cal, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I was just telling you guys, I'm working on that story for your future anthology. We're not talking comics today, but fairy rings are mentioned in that story. So
really?
This is kind of serendipitous.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll have to kind of read it yourselves and see where that comes from. But yeah, fairy rings are a really interesting one, Justin. They're kind of like is it like a circle of either like flowers or stones or something, like out in the woods?
Stones usually, yeah.
Stones.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that there's one like it's in Germany or I don't know, somewhere in Europe, that in this forest where it's like a perfect circle of just dead, like there's nothing ever grows. There's more than one of those. There's the one I'm thinking of. I think it's like in the Black Forest or something. But they're really interesting, and they're kind of like on the other end of the spectrum of this. We're talking about usually when people talk about portals, they're talking about in the sky, UFOs coming and going. But on the like you're saying, Justin, more on the like I wouldn't count. I don't know. More, I want to say down to earth, but it's still crazy. But but yeah, like down to it's on the earth, and instead of aliens, it's fairies. Yeah. But all of that stuff ties together, man. In the in the Christian, the fringe Christian mindset, all that stuff's kind of the same. The abduction. You go back to a certain period, and the abduction cases were all fairies. Go back even further, and you've got a hybridization program from the Nephilim, or the fallen angels creating Nephilim. Then you got fairies taking babies and leaving fairy babies that look like humans, and then nowadays we've got the alien abduction. And so I don't know, to me it's so cool how it all kind of just like has this loose mesh to it. It's all these things are kind of interconnected. But right. Yeah, portals, man. Love talking about portals. What about you, man?
No, yeah, I think they're plausible, especially when you consider like the supernatural realm. Like, yeah, maybe science can't explain it, but just because science can't explain it doesn't mean that they're not possible.
Right.
And I think that was the whole thing with Charles Fort when he was going out investigating things. It's just because something can't be explained by science doesn't mean it's not possible.
Right.
And that's why we used to call the show Fortean Reviews after Charles Fort. But
yeah,
changing it to Tinfoil Skies for a couple of reasons, to grab the name, but also because it's a cool name. So let's roll with it.
Yeah, it is very cool.
So we're gonna go through a few clips that I'm gonna show you guys, where there's talk about portals, and
sure.
The first one I'm gonna share is George Knapp talking about Skinwalker Ranch, like one of the most popular paranormal places in just pop culture today. Like everybody knows about Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah.
So let me add this here. So let's see what George says. about portals. Have you ever heard about this? Like portals being seen on Skinwalker Ranch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. It's not what I want to do. Theater mode. I'll just go full screen.
There we go.
All right. He's going to list off like a whole list of weird things going on, and he's going to end it on the portal stuff here.
Extensive menu of deeply disturbing things, and we'll get into some of the biggest incidents going forward. But it's the little things that happen that really get the hairs on my arm going up. These little poltergeist type things that happened. In a nutshell, things would move around on their own. Inanimate objects somehow become animated. Everyday tools, dishes, possessions seemingly pursued their own agendas. At first it was simply irritating, and then it got a lot more serious. The dad, for example, is out in the field. He's using a post hole digger, which is a fairly heavy tool, digging holes to put a post in for his fencing. He stops for a second. He leans it up there against a tree. He brushes his brow, takes a sip of water. It's not 10 seconds later. He turns around and it's gone. And they found it 2 weeks later, up 75 feet up in a cottonwood tree. The mom, Ellen, she goes to town to buy groceries, and she'll buy a couple of weeks worth, so they don't have to run back and forth. It's a ranching community, you know, or family, and you want to be somewhat self-sufficient. Brings all these bags in, puts them on the kitchen table, takes everything out in the bags and puts it in the cupboard. She walks out of into the living room, then walks back in. All the stuff's back out of the cupboards in the bags again. Weird. She takes a shower every morning, and she has the same routine. She goes in the bathroom, she locks the door, she has a towel and a hairbrush, and she puts them on the cabinet there. She gets out and uses them. But a couple of times when she get out, the door's still locked, but the towel and the hairbrush are gone. Stuff like that. They start seeing shapes and shadows in the house. At night, they'd wake up and they'd hear the sounds of heavy footsteps in the hall or in the kitchen. And later, what sounded like right outside their room. They get up and investigate, don't see anything. Large, dark, humanoid figures then would start appearing at their windows, and later at the foot of their bed in the middle of the night, and then poof, they'd vanish. The family got rattled, needless to say. They started hearing disembodied voices at night, speaking in a language that they'd never heard before. The husband and wife are out walking around in their yard. It's a nice evening, and they're hearing these voices talking, what sounds like 20 feet, 10 feet above their head in this strange language. What the hell is this chattering away? It sounded like more than one of them in this conversation. And the rancher yelled at it, "Hey, knock it off." And it stops for a second. And then it resumes in sort of a contemptuous way, like, ha, 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 you can't stop us. You know, it was that kind of a tone from whatever these guys were saying, these invisible chatterboxes. Again and again, everyday objects like frying pans and spatulas and tools would move or disappear, reappear. They'd turn up in odd places. You know, things would turn up in the freezer or in the dishwasher, the kind of stuff that we would consider classic poltergeist activity. On some nights, the entire homestead would be bathed in light, like it's just a giant diffused spotlight in the sky that makes everything light up. And then on other nights, there'd be beams of light coming out of the ground as if there's a spotlight under there or something. Frequently, the family would hear these loud noises, mechanical noises under the earth, like there's an underground railroad under there or a steel mill or something under the dirt. And I have interviewed half a dozen other people who live in the region who've heard the same thing. They saw a lot of weird animals. The wolf incident from day one, that was just one of the incidents. Ellen, the wife, had her own encounter with this wolf that was like the size of a horse. She gets out of the gate to open it up so she can get her car in coming home one day. And here this thing comes up, and it's big enough to where it's up to the top of her car. It's back. And it was traveling not with another wolf, but with a great big dog, a big black dog whose head was way too big for its body. Why a wolf and a dog with a great big head travel together like that? Well, that's for somebody else to figure out. The family saw a lot of animals that didn't seem to belong in that area, including a flock of these exotic and unknown birds, really bright red birds, like something that had just flown in from a gig in the Amazon forest or something. No birds matching their description had ever been seen in that area before or since. But they were there for a couple of days. Here's a weird one. One afternoon, as Tom and Ellen arrive at their ranch after shopping in town, they see a commotion in one of the corrals. Their horses are jumping up and down. They see a big cloud of dust. Something's messing with their animals. Tom jumps out of the car or the truck and starts running toward it. And what this thing was is this, it's kind of a combination of a hyena and a dog, great, big, muscular, hunched over with a big red tail like a fox. It looked like a combination of a dog, hyena, and fox. And it was toying with the horses. It was like, it was in no hurry. Had these claws that were just scratching the horses' legs, and it cut them up. Tom is running over there. This thing sees him, and it bolts up toward the ridge, goes up this hill, and just vanishes. It didn't jump into a hole. It didn't hide in a burrow. It just went poof in the air. But he knows he didn't imagine it. He went back and saw the wounds on the horses. They were bleeding. So you had the bulletproof wolves, the assorted animals, the mystery voices, the strange lights, the poltergeist events. What else could possibly happen? Well, of course, cue the UFOs, and there were a bunch of them. The first one they saw would look like a recreational vehicle. Tom and his son are walking down into the first homestead. They see what they think are a pair of headlights in the third homestead. Now, again, there's only one way to get in, one way to get out. You have to go right by the ranch house. And it looks like a big, boxy Winnebago. And I wonder, how the hell did that guy get in there? How did we not see him go by us? Well, it looks like he's stuck down there. We'll walk down and go ahead and help him out. So they go walking in that direction, and suddenly this thing starts coming toward them. You can see it's moving. And then it starts moving not toward them, but up. And it rises up above the cottonwood trees, boom, takes off into the sky and disappears. Next, they started seeing these things like, they called them flying refrigerators or chupas that generated huge beams of light all over the property and made loud noises like somebody was banging metal inside of them. Tom and Ellen had a classic daylight sighting of a classic flying saucer, a disc, except this one seemed to generate an emotional response in them as they watched it. I mean, they were like elated, almost giddy, way out of proportion for what they were seeing, as if it was touching some kind of emotional button inside their heads. And that would happen again, but in a different way. There were other saucer activity. There were craft, something that looked like an F-17 stealth fighter, but it had these multicolored lights, like Christmas lights around the edges of it. The neighbors saw, and I interviewed them, saw what looked like flying sombreros that flew directly into the ridge, as if it was almost a generated image that flew right in the ridge without causing a crash. Then these orbs started showing up. First, they were little tiny white objects flitting around in the trees, almost playful, and they would see them at all times of the evening and always maintained their distance. And then they started seeing these red orbs that proved to be a lot more aggressive, since they often would fly into the cattle and scare the hell out of the cattle, just run them off, cause them to stampede. And then they started seeing these larger orange orbs that generated an intense light. Some of them almost looked like a sun. They were so big. And Tom, the rancher, would use his scope to look at them. And he said that on occasion, it looked like you could see another sky on the other side. I mean, if it was appearing, these things would appear at dusk, and the other side of this thing was blue sky. He, on occasion, would see things coming in and out, like craft coming in and out of these orbs.
What do you guys think?
Wow.
What do you think, Cal?
Yeah, I mean, that's great. Like the amount of phenomenon that happens on that ranch is crazy. Like just the list, it's everything. It's not like nothing is left out. Poltergeist activity, UFOs, cryptids. I mean, things from the birds that seem to be just kind of out of place. They're not like cryptids necessarily, but they're from somewhere else. So strange. I actually heard there's a YouTube channel where the guy just kind of reads, people send in their accounts, their stories, and he just reads them. And there's one where a couple of guys were just kind of scoping out the outskirts of the ranch. And as they're kind of there, looking at the signs, they're going to take some pictures. Some of the security comes up and they're telling them they have to go. But as they're telling them to get out of there, an orb shows up. It was one of the smaller ones he was talking about. And they kind of see it, and then it moves, and then it just kind of takes off. And the security their attitude totally changed. They were like, man, you guys got to see that. That's so cool. You're here for that. And they gave them a tour of the ranch, and they described some of that same stuff. Like they saw a tree that was full of birds, and they were like really exotic, tropical looking birds. Some or all of them were oversized though. Like they were too big. I don't think they mentioned portals um, in that account. I actually didn't watch the second half of it, so they might have gotten to portals, but I don't know, that last part with the orange orbs that turned out to be portals.
Yeah,
That's crazy. So is he saying that they are like the outer edges are glowing orange, and
I
then
guess
you can see through? That's what it sounded like.
that's what it sounds like to me. Yeah, like it's almost like a ring. That's what I imagine, like a hula hoop glowing.
Yeah,
And inside is like this window into this other world.
yeah. Man, that's crazy. But it's so. I mean, Skinwalker Ranch is I mean it's a long history of all of this stuff. It's documented over and over again by different teams of people who go in. And I know that for a long time they had trouble getting any conclusive evidence. I feel like now with the show, the people that are there for the show, they're actually getting some stuff. Like one of the crew members who like almost died. Um, yeah, that's crazy. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Justin?
So I was going to talk about this. I can talk about it a little bit after, because it looks like this next clip you've got is going to bring it up too. But the idea about the connection between the portals and orbs of light, like that's something that's starting to come up a little bit. And I think that's really interesting. Like, how does that play into it? Orbs of light, or like wavelengths. Is it a matter of just a light spectrum that we can't see as humans usually, but it just takes like a nudge here and there between something like interfering with the light spectrum that then you can see this other world that normally is invisible to us. Maybe something having to do with, like I said, light spectrums or something. I don't know, but I feel like there's something there, that there's some kind of connection between an orb of light, these things kind of either moving in and out of a portal or being the portal themselves. But I don't know. I find that stuff really interesting. It's fascinating to hear about. I'll talk about a little bit more after the next clip. But
Yeah.
Ben, what do you think? What are your thoughts about this stuff?
Yeah, because I've heard quite a few. I listen to this stuff all the time, but I've heard quite a few stories about these orbs becoming portals, like either like Bigfoot or some other type of creature manifesting once one of these has been around. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the camp that these things are sentient portals. Like they're alive. It's not a device. It's not a means of transportation, but it is itself alive, sentient.
Interesting.
That's my theory.
Yeah.
All right. So this next one, this one is. Have you ever heard of the Meadow Project, Cal?
No, I don't think so.
So it's an undisclosed location, unlike Skinwalker Ranch, where everybody knows it's in the Uinta Basin. And they call this the Skinwalker of the South. And it's called the Meadow Project. And it's same with the guy. His name's Trey. Let me look his name up real quick. Trey Hudson. And so Trey Hudson.
Has this been on Confessionals?
Yeah, I think he has been on Confessionals.
Okay, I think I have heard of it. But anyway, keep going.
Okay, so the clip I want to play is when he called in to George Knapp on Coast to Coast. And this is the first time I ever heard about the Meadow Project. And he talks about his guys like being transported, like stepping into an orb and all of a sudden reappearing somewhere else. So that's kind of the setup for the clip.
Okay.
So here we go.
People have no clue.
Is that the actor that was on Being Human? He looks like the werewolf on Being Human.
I think he's just got that kind of schlubby face. I don't think that's the real guy.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say, man, that's how far has he fallen?
Everybody's got to pay the bills.
The schlubby face.
All right. But yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow, that one's crazy, man. Because it's kind of crossing. I guess it's still in the portal category, but like because they're being transported, but it's like they're enveloping. Maybe that crosses into your theory that they're sentient portals, but they're enveloping a person, moving them someplace else. Person doesn't realize it's happened. They're just walking, and then all of a sudden they're walking somewhere else.
Right.
Wow, I've never heard of that before. That is a trip, man.
Yeah.
I'd like to get a patent on that technology, though.
Right. So apparently there was 2 guys there at the meadow who that happened to. I think it was Bob again with someone else. And so this next clip I'm going to show is Jessica Jones, and not Marvel Comics Jessica
Not the
Jones.
Marvel character,
Right? Not to be confused with.
Yeah.
And she has a YouTube channel herself, and so she interviewed both of these guys who entered the portal to ask them, what was it like? What did you see? What did you experience? So what would you guys imagine it's like entering a portal?
I don't know. So kind of thinking about, what I was mentioning earlier, like a wormhole or a black hole or something like that, your environment would change. I just kind of got this visual just now of like also thinking about roaming black holes in a lake. If there's like a vortex and it's spinning and it's, say, moving through the water, if a fish is kind of swimming along and it gets caught up, there's going to be like a moment where the fish kind of enters air, maybe, and it kind of experiences a completely different surrounding or environment. It moves quickly and, through its own space, reality, whatever, without ever having to go up to the surface and like do anything up there. It gets pulled and moved involuntarily of itself, but it experiences like a very, messy
moment.
A brief moment of chaos for it, right? But it's a roaming natural occurrence. But the fish doesn't know that. The fish is just, freaking out that it's it's going through this like whole ordeal. So that's kind of what makes me think of it. It's my opinion that these things are kind of just roaming around. I don't know. I haven't heard enough stories to make me think they're sentient myself, but I have a feeling like again, it's in a different wavelength that we just can't see them. And sometimes we walk into them, and when we do, we experience the tunnel. Maybe we don't always experience it. Like this guy apparently didn't experience or have the memory of becoming an orb of light shooting to another place and then remanifesting to himself. But that's just kind of where my mind is going right now, is like, what if we are just kind of, when we do experience like a slightly different reality than our own, we're caught up in that vortex and we're being transported. Even if it's slight, it could be a mile or two. I think about missing 411 cases, like with people that are just kind of realize they're somewhere else. They should have no business being within the amount of time that they went missing. So that's the kind of stuff I'm thinking about. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Cal.
Yeah. Well, you asked what do we think it would be like? I don't know. I'm kind of with Justin. Like my first instinct is like, well, it's just like going through a door, like you walk from a door, the inside your house, you step outside, you're in a new environment. My first instinct is a portal is like that. It's a door. It's just that there's different realities on either side. But I don't know. I'm just more intrigued by the idea that there's something else going on in the interim, like that movie Event Horizon.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys see that? The ship figures out how to basically it's a wormhole. I think, but they figure out how to travel very long distances in a short time, and it's by going through a portal. But it's not instantaneous for them. There's some kind of other dimension there. And what that movie did really brilliantly is they were like, this is basically hell. You're going through a hell dimension.
Yeah.
It was just a fantastic way to take a trope like at the Star Trek, trope of going through wormholes and just make it pure horror. But I don't know. I like I said, I'm more intrigued by the concept that you're actually going through another reality, and on the other side, you may or may not remember it, but you were there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you think it would? See, my initial thought was like, your entry into another world. Is the atmosphere different? Is like, can I breathe that air? Can I not breathe that air? Is the pressure different? Is
Right.
hotter, colder? Is there something alien about the other side?
Right.
Those were kind of my initial thoughts. But with Bob walking and all of a sudden turning into an orbital light and shooting across the meadow the way he did, and just not realizing it, is that because it's not so different from our world, or is it because he's just disassociated from it, mentally?
Right.
Like, he just kind of like when we're driving to work and he just kind
autopilot.
Going autopilot.
Yeah. Or maybe it's so other our minds can't actually comprehend what we're experiencing. You like kind of in that Lovecraft category where it's like you go through memory. And you're yeah. So yeah, maybe it's that's another intriguing possibility.
All right, so let's see what Jessica Jones says. These guys told her what it was like. Share this. Jessica Jones.
Whoa.
In your face. All right.
Got the crazy eyes.
Yeah, she does. It's about to get crazy.
I don't know. It's kind of a big open area. And but it's big enough to kind of post teams of like 2 or 3 around, and we just go out there and we observe. Okay, we're not out there like provoking cryptids and doing any kind of weird like rituals or anything. We're just out there observing for the most part. And excuse me. And so the team goes out there, they break off into small groups. Then we had a big crew out there that weekend for whatever reason. And the team that stayed at the front of the meadow, it was our friend David, our friend Terry, and Kristen. They were one team, and they were posted up in the very front of the meadow. And they had Tim and Bob back on the back side, and Lee was back there, and Trey was out there on the other side, and a few people, and Daryl was out there. But they were sitting out there. I don't think there's a whole lot of action going on. And a lot of people have like their thermal scopes, their night vision, FLIRs, so we could see in the dark. Okay. And so one of the teammates, David, was looking directly into the meadow. And this is open field. Okay. And he noticed something that was off. And he described it as, when I've seen the video, it's a square or a cube that was only visible through his FLIR device. And so he thought he was seeing things at first. So he asked Terry to look through his night vision thing. And he looked. He was like, okay, yeah, there's a gigantic cube in the middle of this field. What is that? So they radioed over to the guys across the field, and they said, hey, there's something over here. You guys need to go check this out. And so 2 or 3 of the guys walked over they were guided to where this cube was. Now, this cube was like the size of like a small shed, kind of. It almost looked like it had a door on it, potentially even like windows. It had like crosses on the sides of it. It was really weird. Okay. But it almost looked, dare I say, like man-made. It didn't look natural. Okay. It didn't look natural. And so they guided Bob and Trey, went over to it. And these are guys who are former military special forces. Okay. Highly trained in, tracking, search and rescue, remote viewing even. Okay. They're very aware of their surroundings. They're very aware of their environment. Any kind of slight energetic shifts, they were fully aware of it. And so they were guided over to this thing, and unbeknownst to them, as they walked over to it, well, Kristen had actually pulled out her FLIR device or thermal, and she started recording. Okay, so she was actually watching all this go down and recording it as the guys walked over to it. And you will see, if you ever see, and I'm sure, Tony, you'll see the video, I'm sure, if you haven't already. But they walk over to this cube. You'll see it, I'm sure. If they walk over to it, and as they get up to this cube, their heat signatures disappear. Now, if you know anything about like night vision, thermal things, like the heat signatures just don't disappear into thin air when you are in an open field. And if you were to go behind a tree or something, that's one thing, but there's nothing there to go behind. And the two gentlemen disappeared. Well, the way they described it, and they didn't know they were inside anything. They didn't know they had disappeared. Okay. But they described it as like walking through a thick black velvet curtain. And the temperature changed. I think it said it got colder. Bob always said the stars had disappeared. He couldn't see the stars anymore. And then the vegetation on the ground changed. So it went from like muddy and grassy to smooth ground.
Oh, wow.
So I think within a very short period, within seconds, a minute, they realized there was something off. And so they backed out. They backed out slowly and bam, got out of there. And their heat signatures popped back up. Yeah.
That's wild.
That's wild. That's wild.
So, what do you think about that?
Cal, what do you think? You go first.
I'm unprepared. Like, we're talking about little portals opening up, and then we've got the orbs that swallow people. Now there's just this cube that is invisible, but when you go into it, you go into another dimension. I don't know. I don't know what to say to that. That's crazy. Like, what is something screwing with us? Like, what is the purpose of that?
It does seem that way, especially when you take into account like the accounts from Skinwalker Ranch, where these things seem to be taunting the Gormans or whatever their real name is. But yeah, it does seem like something is playing with the laws of physics.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's something to the thin place kind of belief that where there are spots in our reality that are thinner, where the veil is thinner between our dimension and I mean, we only as a Christian, I only know of one other dimension, which would be the spiritual dimension. Right. But the fact that we don't know where angels, like we know God created the angels, but we don't have that account. To me, when I think about that, I think about all the other stuff that people believe, fairies and things. I just always think, well, maybe it's the same. God just didn't tell us about that stuff, like he told us about the physical realm, but the other stuff we don't know. We don't know about that. There's beliefs that fairies are another similar creation, kind of similar to angelic beings. So anyway, all of that kind of ties in with the portal thing. If they're kind of living, from the spiritual dimension or another dimension, yeah, I don't know. Can they create portals, or are these just areas that for some reason kind of are little rips you can kind of waltz through? I don't know. That's my thoughts are jumbled on this. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, Justin.
So this is the second time I've heard that account. I didn't know there was video where you could like see them. I had just heard the podcast on Spotify, I guess. But that's crazy. It's crazy to hear the stars disappear and the earth turns smooth. Maybe it gets a little bit colder. Are you entering? It's the same reality, just like a different part of the world. Are you going into a completely different dimension? Are you going into another planet? I don't know. The possibilities there are kind of interesting. So I don't know. Ben, I don't know if you have that story queued up about the Jersey Devil.
That's the one that didn't work. The link didn't work anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you heard that story, Cal, about the father and son that took a picture of the Jersey Devil?
No.
So I'll just recount it. I have the link in the description, but I couldn't copy and paste it over for some reason when I was trying to pop it in and add it to this stream right now.
Right.
So it's his father and son, Mike and Stephen Coulter was her name. And they watched a documentary on the Jersey Devil. They decided, they live in Jersey. So let's go out hunting for it too. So they go out there looking for it. And they experience this weird anomaly as they're driving. The father, Mike, looks out the window and he says, I think that's it. I think I see it over there. And so he looks over at his son, and his son is, he can't see. He's like, I can't see. And so Mike then realizes that he can't hear his son. He sees his son's mouth moving, but he can't hear anything.
What?
So the son is blind. He's deaf. And all of a sudden, and this is in December in Jersey.
Right.
All of a sudden, it heats up. And this is also in the evening, I think. And so it heats up to about 70 degrees. And they start taking off their jackets because they're starting to get warm. Just then, the son looks ahead. And up ahead around the corner of the road, he sees what he thinks looks like a horse or something, some kind of an animal up there. And then he thinks to himself, well, that's got to be the Jersey Devil. So he's like, oh, there it is. And so the dad is like, we need to get out of here. Like, this does not feel right. He turns the car back on. And the headlights come on. And he says he sees like these lights reflecting, kind of like a cat eyes or something reflecting in light. Just a flash of them, and then like that, it's gone. And he sees like the head and the neck kind of like move and dart off.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that was their experience out there.
Oh, that's creepy. So were they in another reality for that brief time?
Yeah, I mean, when I heard that story, I think I shared that with Justin last year, and that was kind of my thought. Was something coming through, and as that thing is coming through, a portal's opening, and reality is changing around it,
right?
To allow it to pass through.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, did it start to shift reality to start pulling them in? This thing knows maybe that these guys are like maybe hunting for it or something.
Right.
It starts to lure people into the other side, and then you have people go missing. I don't know.
Wow. Thinking about the stars going missing. Have you guys ever read the King in Yellow fiction?
Yeah,
some of it.
There's a poem. There's a famous poem that's in, I forget which story it's in, but it talks about it says strange is the hold on, let's look. Strange is the night where black stars rise. And I always kind of thought of that when I read it first as like a photo negative sky, where the sky is kind of like a gray and then the stars are black. But thinking about that story though, where the guy says the stars disappear, maybe that's more accurate. What it's talking about. But yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of wonder if Lovecraft wasn't kind of accidentally keyed into realities.
Hmm.
You know, there's some parallels between him and Aleister Crowley back in the day, and I don't know, like I know he wasn't a believer. He at least that was, you know, his profession, public profession, was he was not a believer in anything spiritual. But I don't know, man. Like I think some of that might be like, because his descriptions of old gods are the only thing that in the thing I always think of is the biblically accurate angels, you know, like
Yeah.
when the Bible describes these things with eyes all over and
Right.
you know, so I don't know. I wonder. But and if that's the case, you know, things like, you know, strange is the night when the black stars rise, and then you hear accounts of people going into another dimension and there are either no stars or the stars have gone black for some reason.
Right.
Interesting. I'm just speculating here, but yeah, that's cool.
That's funny. It's funny you mentioned that black star is like another name for maybe a black hole.
Oh yeah,
in space.
yeah.
Black stars.
Very true.
Synchronicities in this episode. All right, I like it.
Yeah, and strangely, I mean, going back to your Tinfoil Skies anthology, the story I'm sending you guys, Carcosa is in there, and
Oh, really?
like a lot of the things. maybe because it's fresh on my mind, but
Yeah.
I was kind of inspired by the first season of True Detective when I was working on this.
Yeah.
And so anyway, yeah, there's a lot of weird synchronicities happening in this stream.
Very cool. All right, let's go to the next clip. And this is Jonathan Frakes.
Oh yeah.
Number 1. Here we go. Make it so number 1. Get this volume up.
The Bradshaw's family ranch in Sedona, Arizona seems pretty typical at first glance. They've got horses, rustic buildings, and great desert views. Oh, and they say there's one more thing. They also have a portal to another dimension.
I've been in this country for 50 years, and I finally saw something that proved that there was UFOs and spaceships.
I was awestruck. Once I overcame the shock, I grabbed my camera because I wanted to photograph it.
What's unusual about this place
is gray hair.
The fact that there's such a concentration of this type of phenomena, of the frequency of it, the variety of it that's going on here.
In many ways, the Bradshaw Ranch is like any other ranch near Sedona, Arizona, but it's also becoming known as a center of unexplained phenomena.
Was that Greer?
Oh no, I was saying, look at his hair.
Oh, okay.
His hair was so bizarre, man. It was like weird and curly in the front.
Yeah.
But then as he starts turning, you see it's actually long.
It is.
Yeah. Sorry, that was distracting.
Very 90s. All right.
And perhaps a window to other worlds.
Hold on, let me pause it right there because that's actually the photo.
A window to other
that she's about to talk about.
Okay.
And I didn't catch this the first time I watched it, so I'm going to pause it here. So this is a photo she took of a flash of light in the sky. And we're looking through the window here. There's that telephone pole that you see on the right-hand corner. That does not exist on her property.
Oh. Weird.
Yeah. So it's not just the fact that there's that UFO there, but that telephone pole does not exist on her property.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So here we go.
Other worlds. What you are seeing is videotape footage of a UFO shot at the Bradshaw Ranch on a typical night. It is for this reason that the ranch is taking on a new name, Galactic Park.
Nice.
We saw this spaceship almost immediately, 40 or 50 balls of light come fast. They were traveling fast down that hillside and right into the ranch. really a spectacular thing to see.
For Bob Bradshaw and his wife Linda, it all started when they began witnessing strange phenomena that neither could explain.
I saw some really incredible things. I saw a red ball of light shoot straight into the sky and shoot out. I saw UFOs. And while I was photographing all of this, I sensed something behind me. And I turned around, and right above the bush was a pulsating ball of light, and it was beamed right at me.
When Linda first told her son Victor, he was skeptical.
I would tell him these things are out there, and he used to tease me. He would come into my home humming the Twilight Zone theme to give me a hard time.
But now Victor is a believer. While hiking near the property one day, he witnessed and recorded strange phenomena with his video camera.
I'm very familiar with the territory and the animals in this area, and I'd seen some animals that I've never known to exist.
The Bradshaws started capturing so many unexplainable images, they called in internationally known author and UFO researcher Tom Dongo. He's co-written a book about the paranormal activity of the area.
I got my camera out and took some photographs, random photographs. These are just random photographs in any direction. And I got some of the same sort of thing, but different. What I got was different from what Linda got.
Linda shot a strange photograph that appeared to her to be an enormous movie screen in the sky.
A huge, brilliant light showed up in the sky. It was octangular. I got 2 frames before it flicked back out again. All I could see with my eye was the light, but when I picked up the photograph, there was a picture of another place. It showed a ship flying through the air, telephone pole. There are no telephone poles here. It almost looks like it might be on the shore of an ocean. And there was a humanoid in the far left corner. We feel that this is indicative of showing us that there is another dimension right here. There is a connection. There is an opening.
On Bob and Linda's invitation, we sent a camera crew to Bradshaw Ranch to see for ourselves. Our night vision cameras did capture something we can't explain. A strange strobing light that amazed the Bradshaws and our crew.
Here's one right
Yeah,
there.
we've got one of the major ones on the
there.
right with the gold. Yep.
And that one just popped right up, didn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, and it's still there.
And I'm going to go to the doubler, so
It's
I'm going
still
to
there.
increase the magnification.
It seems like it's very slowly hovering.
These strange UFOs may seem fantastic, but Tom Dongo says they are familiar visitors to the ranch and can be seen almost nightly.
Well, that's one of them. Now it'll probably blink out in a second, but you'll notice it's almost not moving, and it'll get dimmer and brighter and dimmer and brighter. Very, very odd phenomena.
Just popped right out.
One evening, Tom took the spotlight and flashed 3 times. It flashed back at us 3 times. At that point, we knew that there was an intelligence.
What are these unexplainable sightings? And why does it happen so frequently here near Sedona? Could there be a stargate or portal to other dimensions? According to UFO researchers like Brian Myers, the answer may be found in science.
Well, the scientific community has done a lot of research on dimensions. They have established that there are multiple dimensions existing in the same space. Now, why certain areas are like bleed-through areas, emerging points, or what people are calling portals, we don't know that.
Sedona, for centuries thought to be a mystical place, a sacred location where strange and inexplicable things happen. Now photographic evidence seems to support these legends, and thanks to a special agreement, the Bradshaw Ranch will soon be a research site on multiple dimensions and UFOs.
Coming up.
How far away is that from you, Cal?
Not that far. Sedona's pretty close. Hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I'm looking up. Oh, back to safety. I'm trying to pull up the website for it, but it's telling me it's on a safe site. Anyway, yeah, it makes me want to try and take a trip. I'll tell you what.
So let me ask you guys this. I'm curious, like if you saw a light in the sky like that and you had a flashlight in your hand, you think you try to signal it?
Nope.
As much as I kind of want an experience, I don't know if I want an experience that bad.
No. I think I would do somebody recently was on L.A. Marzulli's show, and he was saying that, and he was, he's a Christian, and he saw the UFO, and he immediately was like rebuking it in the name of Jesus. And the funny thing is, he's like, as he's rebuking it, he's like, I command you in the name of Jesus to stay where you are, because he wanted to run in and grab his camera. And he came out and started filming, and then I think he had said like, you can go now or something, and then the thing just starts moving. But I think I would do something similar. I would be like, in Jesus' name, you cannot touch me, but I would definitely want to film it, that's for sure.
What about you, Ben? Funny. You wanna make contact with the flashlight?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think I would want to communicate with it.
Yeah,
I probably would be like that guy. Yes, stay there in the name of Jesus. I can monetize you. And go grab my camera. What about you, Justin?
I'm on the monetization, but I will monetize you.
What about you?
No, I would not. I would. I don't even know that I would think about saying like, "You stay there while I get my camera." I'd just be like, "All right, I'm gonna go inside." I've seen enough.
It's really weird. I can't reach the website. Sorry, keep going. I'm gonna keep looking for this while we talk.
Okay. Speaking of Ali Marzulli, the next clip that I've got is Ali Marzulli clip.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm ready to watch.
All right.
Oh, that wasn't even the right Bradshaw Ranch. Oh.
Right.
It was some climate change nonsense. It is on Bradshaw Ranch, but it's like they let go of the whole UFO thing.
Yeah. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
All right. Have you seen this one, Cal? It came through the portal.
I don't think so. No.
So this guy is going for a walk in the park, and he straps a camera to his back so that if anything happens behind him, he'll capture it.
Oh, right.
And as he's walking to leave, this weird warp thing starts happening behind him. And it looks like almost like a water, like you're looking through water. Everything's a little fuzzy, a little unfocused. And so he believes it's a portal. So here we go.
Yeah.
So we're seeing, you're in the woods, obviously. The camera's pointing behind you. You can see your ear up in the top left-hand corner. Take us from there. What's going on?
Okay, so this is the end of the day. I'm walking out. This is in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. It's nowhere secret. It's a public place. This is a well-used trail. And I'm about a quarter of a mile away from the parking lot. And so I'm walking down this trail, and I've got the camera, facing backwards, as you can see. And as I walk by, and can you see my pointer?
Yes, I can. Yes,
okay, good. So over here on this side of the trail, this is a solid outcropping of granite or rock, and then this little blurry thing here, I just walked by, it begins to manifest, and it's blurry, and you could argue, well, that's just the sunlight or shimmering leaves or whatever. But as I continue to walk away, we'll see here as we step through this, this thing begins to become more clear, and a event begins to happen around this sparkly thing of light. So as you can see, I'm walking away from this object, and it begins to form. And if I'll pause it here. If you notice a bubble
Right.
begins to form right here.
And let me stop you there. It's a very definitive, clear circle. There, I mean, you can see the line, you can trace the line with your cursor. I mean, it's like right there. You can see it. Something is happening that's not normal. Please continue.
Sure. And as I'm walking away, like I said, this is stabilized and in slow motion. It makes it easier to see. And now this thing in the center here, it's kneeling down. It's got arms and shoulders and a head, and you can start to see, especially right here, the event horizon
the bubble,
is really starting to form. And then a little farther away, and again, now it's starting to really get defined. And I just thank the Lord I walked past it before it began to form, because we don't know where it leads or where it was coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And the being, of course, inside this event, he begins to get a little sharper. Now this being never really becomes clear. And it's almost like when we get here, you could really see the edge. If I can stop it you can really
see the edge. I mean, it's very plain, and it's not some sort of camera anomaly. Something is manifesting in this sphere. I mean, it's incredible footage.
Yeah, and like I said, this in here is almost like you're looking into water. Yeah, and I know a lot of people will harken back to TV shows, and Stargates, and so sometimes I wonder, did they have a little bit of inside knowledge that we didn't? Because they're all the predictive programming.
Well, it is. It's exactly what it is. It's getting everybody used to what's coming.
And right here is probably a really, really good shot of the.
It's a great shot.
The event forming.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, I'm walking away from this event. If it was something to do with the camera and lights and angle, I'm changing the angle as I'm walking. So some pareidolia or some other effect, as soon as you change the light angles and my perspective to it, they should change. This thing should go away. It should fade. And instead of fading, it's actually getting sharper. So it was really just an eye-opener.
And it's not moving. If it was some sort of camera anomaly, it would be bouncing up and down and moving left to right as you're walking, because you can see the camera's moving, but that circle is not moving. That circle is definitive. It's there. Something is coming through. It's very unnerving.
Yeah. I'm I feel very fortunate, to be honest with you, that this thing didn't come through and approach me. It just
it's becoming sharper too. Look at it now. It's definitely sharper, I should say.
Of course, if I could stop it at the right moment. There we go. At this point, it's pretty sharp, and I've got some blow-ups, and they're very interesting blow-ups of the head and face, but you can see here
So yeah, I want to fast forward because he's got some interesting shots over here of what he thinks is there.
Yeah, there's the circle.
Yeah, well, let me go back. All right, so I took one of the better still shots, as you can see here, and I just blew this area up. Of course, it's going to be pixelated. It's 480p.
Yeah.
But that is basically untouched. All I did there was adjust the contrast on it and the brightness, and I ran it through a deblurring algorithm. And other than that, that is untouched.
All right. So what do you guys think?
Could you scrub back to the original, like before he starts playing the video? I want to see. I want reference from like the very start. Because now that I've seen what it looks like when he's moving down the trail, I want to see what that spot looks like when he's there.
Okay.
So this is when he's in the spot, right? Like this is
Right.
where.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your ear up in the top left-hand corner. Take us from.
I'm just gonna mute it.
Yeah.
So he's saying like that's a rock.
Right. Granite, he said, and there's something. He's saying that the light area is something already starting to manifest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I'll fast forward towards the end. You want to see the difference?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying. What I'm trying to do is because from this, I'm kind of skeptical because it could just be like a, when you're on a trail and the trees kind of like curl around the top.
It's just
but that's not what it
natural
looks
canopy.
like. Yeah, but that's not what it looks like when he's in it. The trees look like they're all going straight up, and there's not like a canopy happening. There's not even a darkness above him, but here, there's like a darkness around in that little circle.
The other thing is like this looks like it could just be out of focus.
Yeah.
But this up here is not.
Right.
And that's further back. Like it's not as blurry as this is right up here.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I have seen this before, but when I watched it was on my phone.
Yeah.
So that makes all the difference in the world seeing it bigger. Because when I watched it then I was like, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Because that guy's been on 2 or 3 times, and
has he?
Yeah, and it always is underwhelming to me. But seeing it much bigger, it does look. It looks pretty unsettling.
Yeah.
It really looks like there's something kind of opening, manifesting there behind him.
Yeah, I just thought it was a fun thing to show. I love LA, but I think we've talked about this before. He wants to believe.
Yes.
And so he's willing to believe anything that somebody pitches him.
Yeah. He eats it up, man. Yeah. He really does. I've seen him be skeptical before, but he's not as skeptical as I want people to be.
Right.
But I am still massive fan of LA. But I think that he's Fox Mulder all the way, man. He's playing it away. And he has no Scully to keep him in check. So
right.
I don't know. Maybe his wife is. I don't know. But yeah, that one was trippy. What did you think of that one, Justin?
That one, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about that one. Like it just, again, it seems like one of those things where like it does kind of look like it's a natural occurrence. It looks a little bit too natural to me. Like maybe they were going through there with some kind of equipment. They're like, well, we need to, cut a hole through here so that we can fit our, whatever through their national park. We got to run through some trees. I know they will do that occasionally, but I don't know. And it does also make me think of like a fairy ring, like a fairy ring can really be any kind of naturally occurring, very symmetrical circle, so something like that could be kind of interesting to look into. I don't know, but based on just the video alone, was that something? I myself, I am a little bit underwhelmed by it, but I don't know. I could be wrong.
Could be something, could not be. Could be nothing, we don't know. Again, it's just that it was fun to share because it's it's dealing with portals.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I'm kind of with Justin, but I seeing it bigger, I do see what they are like. I see what they're talking about now. Like before, I'm like, but I'm looking on a tiny screen on my phone.
Right.
This is it. I wish it was like higher resolution. Like I wish you could really zoom in and get a look at the things, because the creature did, once he zoomed in, is like, oh, it looks like 2 big nostrils and there's eyes. Like it does look like a creature, but it could just be the whole pareidolia thing.
Right.
Now, it is actually kind of impressive that 480 got that much detail. Like,
I know, right?
For walking as well, like having motion to it. I know he stabilized it and sharpened it, but still, it's pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, that was cool.
All right, so I got 2 more videos to share, but I want to preface this by talking a little bit about in the Bible. So you mentioned earlier, like Genesis 6, the descending of the angels, but there's also the Pool of Bethesda, where the angels would come and stir the water. And
right.
It's not specifically a portal. It does make me think of the other side, the spiritual side, interacting with the physical world, and how people would go to the Pool of Bethesda to be healed. And there's a place in Canada that kind of has that story.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, if you've ever heard of this, it's called Lac Sainte Anne. So I'm going to play that story.
All right.
And this is from Hammerson Peters' channel.
Lac Sainte Anne. 5 hours north of Banff and about an hour west of Edmonton lies Lac Sainte Anne, Alberta, a large eutrophic lake connected with a fascinating tradition. For 133 years, thousands of Roman Catholics, most of them of Métis or First Nations heritage, have traveled to Lac Sainte Anne to bathe in its plankton-rich waters, hoping to benefit from the miraculous healing powers they are said to possess. Although the annual summer pilgrimage to Lac Sainte Anne is a Catholic tradition, belief that the lake is home to some extraordinary power predates the importation of Christianity onto the Canadian plains. Before 1795, when agents of the Hudson's Bay Company established Fort Edmonton on the shores of the North Saskatchewan River nearby, local natives purportedly told stories about a large serpent that lived in the lake, which whipped up strong currents and dangerous winds with the lashing of its tail. Another old Stoney legend tells of a Sioux chief who traveled to the lake from what is now North Dakota, following the throbbing of a mysterious invisible drum. He followed the sound to an island in the lake, where he came upon a beautiful woman in a buckskin gown, with feathers in her long black hair. After producing a miraculous vision, in which thousands of children could be seen standing on the lake's shore, the woman vanished. The names which the local natives applied to the lake reflected their reverence for the mysterious power they believed dwelled within it, both the Stoney and the Cree referring to it as Lake of the Great Spirit in their respective languages. Taking their cue from the natives, Hudson's Bay Company employees, who set up shop on the North Saskatchewan River nearby, called the body of water Devil's Lake. In 1844, a French-Canadian priest named Jean-Baptiste Thibault, who had traveled on horseback across the Canadian prairies 2 years prior to minister to the Métis and Cree at Fort Edmonton, established a Roman Catholic mission on the shores of Devil's Lake. Discontented with the diabolical epithet the HBC had applied to his backyard body of water, Thibault blessed Devil's Lake and renamed it Lac Sainte Anne, in honor of the grandmother of Jesus and the mother of the Virgin Mary. The religious pilgrimage for which Lac Sainte Anne is famous today began in the summer of 1889 during a particularly severe famine. Led by an oblate missionary named Father Joseph Lestonc, hundreds of Native and Métis Catholics descended on the lake on July 26th, the feast day of Sainte Anne, to pray for rain.
Drinking warm water before bed balances blood sugar levels and reverses.
Sorry.
Stupid commercials.
And my cat is. I'm thankful we're small right now because my cat ran right across my belly. She's interested in the birds outside.
Here we go.
Rosary and the Litany of the Saints, some of the petitioners waded into the water to cool off. As they submerged themselves in the lake's murky waters, something miraculous happened. Many of those who had come to Lac Sainte Anne with illnesses and disabilities emerged from the water instantly and inexplicably cured of their afflictions. Ever since, Catholics from all over Canada and the United States have made annual pilgrimages to Lac Sainte Anne to pray and to avail themselves of the lake's healing power. One woman whose lifelong hip problem disappeared after washing herself in the waters of that sacred lake described her experience for a journalist in 1992, saying, "It's a funny feeling. It's just like something enters in you, and you feel like you could just float away. You feel light. It's the Holy Spirit entering your body. I felt like I could get up and run. Although spooky might not be the most appropriate description for the mystery that surrounds it, Lac St. Anne is certainly one of the most extraordinary lakes in Canada.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to go up there and have it fix my back pains. That's it's really interesting because the story in the Bible, I've always felt like the kind of one of the thrusts of that story was that the water actually wasn't healing anybody. Like the stories were more legend than reality, but I don't know if the text explicitly says that. I think that's just kind of like, oh my gosh, that's just kind of the what pastors that when they teach through it, that's the
Yeah.
thrust of the sermon.
Yeah,
But that makes me kind of rethink that.
Yeah, because I think it does say like that it would happen like yearly that an angel would come and stir the waters.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But that specific lake though goes back to like Native American lore, like before there was, like a
Right.
Catholic priest didn't come and like bless the lake and then it was, it was healing. It just seems to be like a natural phenomenon if it indeed does what they say it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool though. What a cool story.
Yeah. Yeah, that story of the Bible always like always interested me. I was like, I wonder if that still happens today. Do angels still come and stir the waters of certain pools? Either there at Bethesda or elsewhere.
Right.
Is the Bible ever like explicit, like how it started? Like, why did
No.
the angels start coming down there?
No. You know what? It would just occur to me though, in the show The Chosen, there's a scene at the pool of Bethesda where it's that story where the guy is sitting there by the pool, near the pool, but he can't get over to it in time. And it's a really powerful scene because Jesus is like, do you really want to be healed? And he just does the Jesus thing, and the way Jonathan Rumi does it is he does a great job. But that show actually kind of illustrates the anti-supernaturalism of our age, because in that scene Jesus basically says, that the water's not going to heal you, right? And the guy's like, yeah, and it's a powerful moment magnifying the power of Jesus, but that is our society now. Like, so the showrunner, people making the show are saying, oh, everything is just mythology. If it seems supernatural, it's not real.
Yeah.
And I hate that. That's where we're at in our society right now. And it flavors, I don't know if it did for you guys, that mindset just flavors how I feel about stories like that. Like, that's a cool story, but we'd know, like, there'd be videos of people like limbs growing back, and like my skeptic brain just starts going when I hear stories like that. But I want to believe that's real. I do. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't think that it would be necessary today, because Jesus came. So,
right.
I think that stirring of the waters was just a grace that God lent to people during that time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All
so
right,
what's this lake all about then?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting though. I found it interesting. Like I said, when I was a kid, like the Pool of Bethesda story just always like stuck with me. I was just like, wow, that's crazy. It's like because it was like an example of the supernatural interacting with the natural world.
Right.
All right, last clip. Now this is, what is his name? This is Dwayne Ollinger. and he is the owner of the Blind Frog Ranch. Have you heard of this place?
Mm-mm.
So he's from Texas. He's from Dumas, Texas, and he bought some land. I want to say it's up in Utah. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But he buys this land and he wants to build some kind of a wellness center. And he starts like drilling into like a mountain or a ridge out there. And they end up cracking open and finding the land. And they end up finding like this pool of water. And out of the water come a bunch of frogs, and they're all blind. So that's how it got its name, of Blind Frog Ranch.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. And so there's kind of like Skinwalker Ranch, there's UFO sightings, there's orbs. There's a story about these two girls that were staying there overnight, and this orb came up to them, and they saw this Indian chief inside of the orb. Kind of a strange story. But here he's going to talk about how that pool of water has healing properties. So I thought that was interesting. Again, just kind of connecting it to what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And we're not through. There's things that we need to learn about that will be a blessing to our future kids and our grandkids. And so we've had people get in the pond, just that pond, and it's tied to energy fields and ley lines, and it's tied to also a meteorite. So this water, 200, what? Oh, yeah. Jeez. Here we go. Well, there's people that get in those ponds. And they'll sit in those ponds, and that water is cold, but yet it makes an electrolysis around you like it's being charged. And so you get in those ponds, and people get out of them and say, my back doesn't hurt. Or one lady from the Skinwalker Ranch had a cataract over her eye, and she had glaucoma in this eye. She got out of the ponds and then went to the energy zone, and the next thing you know, she says, you need to know that I don't have these eye problems. People with bad back pains for years got in and found out that now they don't have the pain. It's like whatever's going on there is charging every cell in their body to correct what the hell is going on. All I ever tell them is, they said, what do we owe you for this? And I said, you damn sure owe me. You damn sure do. And they think, oh, hell, here comes the Texas charge, No. You owe me to go tell your story. Tell your truth. Go tell them. And if it helped you, fine. And if it didn't help you, fine. But tell your story. Tell your truth, so we can move forward on what we find out and say it didn't work here, but it did work here. If the government is not going to tell us the truth about what is really out there, then it's up to us to tell ourselves the truth.
Yeah, I just thought that was an interesting story as well.
Yeah, where was that located?
Like I said, I want to say it's in Utah, but I'm not sure.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
that it makes you wonder: is there something does the spiritual power or forces somehow like overlap with the physical realm in certain places? Like I was saying earlier, maybe in thin places.
Hey, Dio, thanks for watching, man.
Hey, maybe it doesn't need to be like an angel stirring it, like in the New Testament story, but maybe there's just kind of laws, just kind of like gravity and thermodynamics. Maybe there's laws that kind of create interesting spots, where things like that happen. Or, because why else would you just go into a certain lake or pond and then things start healing in your body?
Right.
It's, I don't know. I have no solid anything to say about it. I'm just speculating.
Right. Now he talks about, the ley lines. He also talks about, just like sound waves, like what do you call that, vibrations,
and
stuff like that. He goes into some pretty strange stuff. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. Really get you thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing about I just real quick. That's the thing about Sedona is that there's supposedly a bunch of vortices, like mystical, places where mystical forces converge or whatever. It's interesting that Bradshaw Ranch is there in Sedona, which is known for their vortices. There's even if you get a hotel room in Sedona, there's materials either on the TV or that's probably just on the TV now, but like all the touristy stuff is like, hey, take a tour of the Sedona vortices. Like, this is weird. Like normally, be like, hey, check out the landmarks and they'll give you some good restaurants to check out. But at Sedona, it's like, here's where all our magical vortices are. It is a beautiful place to visit, though, if you guys ever get a chance.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, that's all I have. Those are all the clips I have on portals. So if you guys have anything to share, go ahead.
Nope, not me. I did not have time to pull anything, but
I would let you do all the work this week. I did. When you said portals, some videos came to mind, but I could not find them. Like things you see on Instagram, and then they're just gone forever.
Yeah.
But like, there's one of people driving down the road, and then people are stopping, like on the freeway, and they're filming this. It's just a ring in the sky, like it looks like an energy, like some kind of luminescent kind of oblong shape, and then the middle of it looks a little different than the sky above, and I've seen a few different ones where there's just like, it really just looks like a portal in the sky, but I could not find them.
That reminds me, there was a cool video I saw some time ago called the Norway Spiral. Have you seen that one?
Mm-mm.
And they try to explain it away by saying that it was a rocket that was spinning in the sky.
Right.
Let me see if I can pull that up. I'll share that too. You guys talk amongst yourself.
Yeah, I've seen stuff about over the Large Hadron Collider too.
Oh yeah.
Talking about Sweden made me think about that. But there is video of a portal over that area. And people that's the speculation is that they're trying to open wormholes and things with, I don't know exactly what they're doing, but conspiracy people are like, yeah, they're trying to open doors in other dimensions. And then there happens to be a video of a portal opening over. I don't know.
Yeah.
Tower of Babel all over again.
Yeah.
That's when I was looking up CERN earlier today. I was just like, oh, let's see what I can find out about it, because I really don't know too much about it. But one of the first things that came up in my Google search was, is CERN opening up portals to hell?
Right.
And it's a USA Today post. So like I opened it up, and of course it's saying like, no, there's no evidence that they're speaking with demons to open up a portal to hell. Like, what an odd thing to say.
That is an odd thing to say. It's like, thou doth protest too much. They should just be laughing at it and just like not writing articles about it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because there was that, like, I mean, I think it's documented that there was some weird ceremony there.
Yes.
Kind of appeared like it's like a Bohemian Grove looking thing where it appeared like there was a sacrifice going on.
Yeah.
Interesting. And the symbol does look like 3 6s intersecting.
All right, here we go.
From CBS News space analyst Bill Harwood. Bill, it is amazing the action on YouTube already just in the last 24 hours. People playing music behind these videos, anticipating the end of the world. This seems like a much more likely explanation, doesn't it?
Whoa.
It really does, Harry. Rockets can fail in spectacular ways. And when you look at vehicles up out of the atmosphere where there's no pressure constraining those contrails, it gets quite dramatic. We had a YouTube video, I think, of a Trident missile launch off Cape Canaveral back in 1989. That as soon as the missile came out of the water, the nozzle went hard over, and the rocket just started spinning end over end, just like that. So this video looks very similar to that, and that would certainly be my assumption as to what went wrong.
And I've been in Norway in the winter and seen the Aurora Borealis, which is spectacular, but it bears no resemblance to that whatsoever.
No, it really doesn't. And, I've seen in the past, they've done experiments before where they've released materials into the upper atmosphere to study the ionosphere and things like that. And you get those same colors when those events happen. But in this case, this spinning plume motion clearly indicated the failure of some kind of solid rocket motor.
And can you imagine if you were standing there looking at the night sky and seeing that, how freaked out you would be? Bill Harwood, thank you very, very much for your help this morning. Do appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
I actually have I have one to show too.
Okay.
If I can find the right. Okay. I think this is No, that's not it. That's not it. There was a similar spiral over California not too long ago. The spiral was a rare phenomenon called a SpaceX spiral, is what they're saying by astronauts, and some say it could become more common in the future. I don't know if I can find video of it, but I can show you the image. I would like Elon Musk to weigh in on this, because they're saying it's from SpaceX. Here, I'm bringing up the screen right now. So this is over California.
Oh, wow.
That looks like the exact same thing.
It really does.
Yeah.
And so they're saying it's a SpaceX spiral by astronomers.
It's in northern Yukon.
And this was this year. Actually, no, sorry, last year.
April.
It was big, a bit spooky, blah, blah, blah. Unspent, okay, it was apparently a cloud of unspent fuel from a SpaceX rocket. But I'm sorry, I don't think I'm buying it. And especially since it's happened other places, and now they're saying, oh, it might become more common. But it's just stationary. It's not flying, like, it's not shooting all across the sky. There's just a spiral in the middle of the sky, a luminescent spiral. I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say the other thing that gets me is that going back up to that picture, like if it was like a rocket or something, the light would only be shooting off one end.
Right.
But this seems to be like glowing.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of jumping jacks, those firecrackers that shoot out both ends and then they start spinning.
Yeah.
Like if you took a long exposure shot of it.
Right.
It also kind of looks like the Microsoft Edge Explorer symbol. Is this marketing gone wrong?
Right.
Or gone right?
Everyone's talking about Microsoft Edge.
Okay, I haven't. Oh no, this is the same thing, but I don't understand the camera angle. Hold on.
Hey, is that going the same direction?
What's
Looks
that?
like it, huh?
It kind of looks like it's going the same direction as the other one.
Yeah. And interesting. It does. It's kind of okay. I'm getting real conspiracy theorist with this, but let me share.
That's what we're all about here, Cal.
So thinking of the spiral, the overlapping spirals that we just saw.
Yeah.
This is the CERN logo.
Oh wow.
Actually, I have a better. I mean, you guys can see it, so it doesn't matter, I guess. But
right.
Yeah,
That is a weird logo.
It is, but it's kind of similar. It's got that double spiral thing going on. It's more than
Right.
two, but
Yeah.
interesting. I don't know. I don't know. It makes me want to become a researcher. I'm not. I'm more of an observer. You know, like
Right.
I kind of just take in what the people who are researchers put out.
Yeah.
And I've never been like. I think the closest I got to being a researcher of this stuff was like back 9/11. When Alex Jones first infiltrated Bohemian Grove, and then the 9/11 attacks. Like, I would spend a lot of my days reading about that stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, that was a long time ago. That was a really long time ago. And since then, I've been more of like a, you know, just a consumer. But now I'm really wanting to start like digging into this stuff. I just don't have enough time.
Right.
Gosh, there are so many images of this spiral, you guys. There are tons. I just looked up from looking up spiral over California. There's just a whole bunch of images, and I don't feel like they're all in the same place. So, okay, this one is Alaska. Actually, I'll just share that screen. We can look at them all real quick. Share.
There's a star thing that does that, right? Like a pulsar star, like it spirals like that. Do you guys know?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure.
I think that's what it's called, a pulsar, and it spins and it like.
Oh wow!
It's supposed to kind of let that off. Oh yeah.
So that one's over Alaska.
Yeah.
Let's see. That's the Alaska one.
That one says SpaceX was probably behind.
Okay.
Did you see that?
Oh no.
Yeah, that was
probably behind.
Was probably behind it.
North. So let's see.
That looks like a swastika to me. I don't know.
It does.
I think it's the Nazis.
Nazi aliens.
Okay, that one is also the Alaska.
Oh, is that crazy sci-fi movie with the Nazis on the moon? The
Iron Sky?
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
That's
interesting.
interesting.
Going on an evening stroll and looking up in the sky. Oh, let me put it back on that.
Where was that at?
That one is New Zealand.
Okay.
So these are, we have 4 different locations already that these things have been happening.
So another little thing that this kind of reminds me of is the yellow sign. Obviously not yellow, but it is a swirl within another swirl.
Yeah.
Oh man, that brings us full circle back to Hastur, Carcosa.
All roads lead to Lovecraft.
Norway.
Actually, that's Chambers, right?
The Chambers, yeah.
Yeah, then didn't Lovecraft used Hastur?
Yeah.
In his works, but it was Chambers. And actually, what was it? I feel like even before Chambers, there was like a poem, Haita the Shepherd. I don't remember who that's by, but that's the first thing to mention. Hastur. Haita the Shepherd. Let's see. Haita the Shepherd. A naive shepherd who prays at the shrine of Hastur, god of shepherds. And it was written by Ambrose Bierce.
Okay.
So yeah, all 3 of them get the I'll stop my screen now. All 3 of them get credit for that whole mythos. But I think out of all of the quote Cthulhu mythos, Hastur is my favorite
old guy
entity. There's some really cool ones, but Hastur to me, it's just, and it might be because of that first season of True Detective that just they just wove that into it so well. It was just awesome. But I already really was intrigued by Hastur before that season though, so I don't know. I'm just babbling about Hastur now.
Share this video I found on TikTok, and again you can see where it says mysterious flying spiral is thought to be connected to the launch of a SpaceX satellite. And
So
this
nothing's
is
confirmed.
Yeah, nothing's confirmed. But also look at the date. This is January of 2023.
Oh wow.
Look how fast it goes by. It's not
Yeah.
like very continuous. It's just it shows up and it spirals out and that's it. Again, like a pulsar. It just pushes something out.
Oh my gosh, that's trippy.
That's cool.
That is pretty neat to see it out there.
Yeah.
Looks like the old Samsung startup.
Flying portal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's funny. The Samsung thing. Yeah, that man, I don't know, man. I'm not sold that those spirals are SpaceX.
Yeah.
But I'm open. I'm open. I want Elon to make a statement though. Hey guys, the spiral, that's me.
Yeah.
I was trying to make an X in the sky and
it went wrong. Ended up making a swirly instead. Ended up making a SWAT sticker. I'm sorry, guys.
Total accident. I promise.
Oh, the left would love that. Oh man, cool.
Well, guys, that's all I have. You guys have anything else?
I exhausted my resources.
Yeah,
all right. All right, cool. Well, this was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope you guys had a good time.
I did. This was a lot of fun.
You gotta keep
All
these
right.
going.
Yeah, we'll do another one next month. First weekend of September if we can. If you guys are free.
Yeah, I'll make sure I am.
All right, and before we go, I want to play the trailer to our comic book that we have on Fun My Comic.
Yeah.
So if you guys have not backed it, please go back it today on Fun My Comic. It is called Tricks and Treats Volume 2. It is a horror anthology. It'll be 100 pages. So here we go. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and thanks for watching.